Welcome everybody to the Tranquility GG Twitch channel for today's EU Discord tier games. It is I, Toasty, and I'll be joined by Funky Monk, your first time in Tranquility. Welcome Funky, and yeah, should be a fun game today. A little bit higher tier gameplay than the EU games we saw just the other day, so should be an absolute banger.
Yeah, of course. We got a little bit of an Asar jump from Harmony to Discord. I believe the cap for Discord is what? 3-3, 3-4. It's relatively high anyway.
Says at the bottom of the screen down there, chat. If you wanna look down there. 3.5k. Yeah. So a relatively higher tier, I think, than Harmony was. Obviously, it does still overlap into the plat bit, but most of the players here we've got today are sort of in that diamond category, so we do have a bit of a bump up in SR, like we say. We got Mythical Kitsune versus Cam here, and obviously, predicting Tranquility, did predict this as a 3-1, so 5 head predictions, I'm going to follow their lead on this one. 3-1 pred in my books.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seems like the people that Tranquility predicts know what they're doing, and we'll see how accurate those predictions are.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you following those predictions then? Are you going 3-1 to Cam or?
No, I think I'm gonna just mirror it and go 3-1 for Mythical Kitsune instead.
All right. Well, we got a little bit of a standoff here between the two casters then. Should be fun. But yeah, first map, of course, is going to be Nepal. So obviously we had this as our first map in the Harmony tier as well. Seems to be a favorite in the EU side of things. I reckon that is because you can play a lot of the rush style here, right?
Yeah, very, very much so. It's is very much favored on Village and a little bit on Sanctum as well, because of that sort of close range points that you have there. But it'll be interesting to see what they do on Shrine. A lot more open of a map. And let's see if we see many ball comps, Farah comps maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like sort of the ball compositions are a little bit more common the higher you go up in SR, right? And obviously, this isn't too incredibly high. I say that as a diamond player, and this is sort of high diamond players, so they are better than me. But what I'm trying to say is they're not quite at the level where like you might be able to perfectly execute a ball composition, because a lot of the time, and I think a lot of like analysts out there, colorcasters, etc., will agree. I think ball compositions have a really high skill ceiling where you can get a lot of value. The higher in skill you are, the more skilled players you have, the more synergy you have, the more value you're going to get. So you should get some ball play here. I don't think you'll see it as like a complete meta composition. I think some of these teams might fall back on Reinhardt, might fall back on some like double shield or dive if they feel it's a little bit too difficult to execute those dives.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't even necessarily have to execute too many dives. You can just sort of pick a Farah, spam out the Brawl comp, and hopefully if you land enough rockets and force enough resources, at that point you can, sort of go in and have a little bit of a fun time picking off the squishies.
Yeah, and I mean, it's sort of this fun little Farah pick we've also been seeing not only in a lot of Plat gameplay as you move sort of like a Plat Diamond level, but also we've seen it a bit in Overwatch League to sort of counter the Junker Queen style in Overwatch 2, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some Farah gameplay come through at some point today. We did obviously see it in Harmony tier on Tuesday. So we'll see what we get here. It will actually be a bit of a difference in compositions to kick us off. We're on Village, where you would typically play this Mei rush and try and bunker down on the point, but Cam are going to try and break through that using this sort of, I guess, Sombra divey sort of composition. I believe the official name is 6-man for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Generally speaking, though, 6-man is at the disadvantage into the straight Brawl, just because the Brawl just has more sustain and more stopping power. And you see over here, the Brawl is actually just taking the point very, very early. And it looks like with the Sim, they've got a bit of a nice setup here.
Yeah, and it's all about keeping that setup strong, right? You don't want to get hacked up by the Sombra in the back there. Obviously, Kurisu doesn't get that hack off.
Absolutely. The Bab's getting a little bit caught out there. Has to use the Immortality Field to keep himself alive. The Rhine, though, has been hacked, but Uomi picking up a really great first pick onto the main tank of Cam, sorry. And the rest of Mythical Kitsune can just roll on through there. And, yeah, first fight won for Mythical Kitsune there.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's a pretty good job that Iwomi stays alive there, because against this Cam composition, the 6-man, you are trying to gun for sort of the easier targets to kill, like the Baptiste, the Lucio. You're looking to just get in there and blow them up with the Winston, the Reaper, and not have any resistance from it, right? So the fact that Iwomi can keep themselves alive there in positionally, and sort of play behind their Reinhardt, that sort of thing, really helps them out there in getting that first kill. As Mythical Kitsune gonna take a bit of a standoff here up on the high ground.
Absolutely, yeah. Woki getting isolated very, very early and gets taken down almost immediately. The Sombra as well getting forced out there by Radiant, who picks up the kill relatively quickly, and Cam just have to reset here. They can't really go in without their main tank, but Mythical Kitsune can't go in without their Lucio, and it seems like even without the Reinhardt, Cam do have a little bit of something going. The Rhine is back now, though, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah, the Zarya has a bit of poking power, right? So you stay around and try and get some extra damage in. Yeah, Bojack just walled off. Excellent stuff there, honestly.
Very, very nice. The subsequent pick... Oh, no. Never mind. It's gone. Cam pulling on an absolute clinic there and just wiping out Mythical Kitsune there. Who only have to use the window and the wall. I'm not going to say the rest of it. But, I mean, yeah, generally... Good fight there.
Yeah, a decent fight, and it's all set up by Kurisu, right, who's on this Mei. And now that they have control of this choke, it should be much easier for them as they find the first kill.
Absolutely, yeah. The Shatter not quite finding as much as they would have wanted to, but the wall going on immediately, and Zornig taking out Bojack there with a nice bit of a bursted headshot, and they can just roll on through here and force Mythical Kitsune back a little bit.
Yeah, and like I say, right, being able to funnel Mythical Kitsune into that choke, especially as you're starting to approach towards more ultimates which can actually take advantage of that, such as the High Noon, the window, it'll force Kitsune to push down on this low ground and actually take a bit of a positional disadvantage as they approach to the point, but a good TP gets them onto it.
Very, very nice there, and the free Blizzard coming out there from Kurisu does manage to freeze a lot of members of Cam, and Tomid with the turret and Radiant with the Icicles, I presume, managing to take the first 2 picks there. Tomo again taking out Toxin a little bit late there, and it looks like Cam had to back off there and let Mythical Kitsune take control of point.
Yeah, and it's all off the back of that shatter as well that comes through from Bojack. Just lays 3 of them down to the ground and they get cleaned up. Cam are going to be hard push to try and contest this, especially with the D-bomb coming in.
It's a very nice wall there, trying to isolate targets, but it's not enough for the Bap and the Lucio. Bojack, though, taking out Mama as the grab happens, and no Torino managing to eat Kurisu's Blizzard, who is then taken out swiftly by Tomo. Their turrets just putting up an absolute clinic there, and it looks like Mythical Kitsune are going to be taking round 1 of Nepal.
Yeah, Turret's the MVP of that fight, to be fair. Woki did obviously hit like a 3-man shatter there, but it was a little bit too late on in the team fight. They were pressured out from the Diva Bomb, had barely any shield to work with. They were on extremely low HP after that came through, so really, not Ryan IO had a really good play in terms of intercepting that rotation from Cam right at the end with that Diva Bomb. Excellent play. And they ate the Blizzard as well, right? If that Blizzard comes through there from Kurisu, you probably clean that fight up if you can. And, with the Grav Blizzard combo, it's pretty much impossible to beat, but Not Rhino obviously gets that Blizzard eat. Excellent stuff. We saw a few eats on Tuesday as well from Divas, so seems like the Divas in EU definitely are hungry. But this will be a bit of a changeable in composition here for Kitsune. No longer on the Diva, on the Sigma and the Bull here. So not the Bull Diva we're used to, but a bit of a hybrid.
Yeah, very much so. The Sigma obviously has a little bit more of an advantage in the poke duel, which really helps out on these long-range maps. But Toxin immediately taking out Radiant, who goes a little bit too aggressive there, and the Bull rolling on through, not really getting too much done there. Just trying to disrupt the members of Cam. And it looks like Cam are going to be able to establish themselves on the point. No, maybe not. It looks like Bojack is really trying to stall it out for as long as possible. Kurisu with the Sonic Arrow and the regular arrow getting 2 headshots onto both of the supports of Mythical Kitsune and really just swinging that fight into Cam's favor. Very, very nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fight that Cam really, like, I feel like they probably shouldn't have been able to win. Mythical Kitsune, right off the start, had a positional advantage, and now that they lose that fight, they're actually going to swap over to a rush composition, giving up some ult charge. And into the Ursa Sigma, it's going to be very hard to endure all the spam with a rush.
Yeah, but if you can get that opening pick, which Rhino does, getting the headshot onto Marmor, the Orisa going down there, only shield left is getting forced out. Radiant with the headshot onto Toxin and the body shot onto Woki, but Kurisu getting 2 picks of their own, getting not Rhino, but getting taken out by Bojack quickly afterwards. And Mythical Kitsune able to establish themselves on this point.
Yeah, and the good thing about being in control now with this Reinhardt composition is that you're going to be able to play aggressive up to these chokes and stop Cam from actually getting in to a positional advantage, where the Orisa Sigma would love to be. Radiant as well on the sideline here, probably looking for a pulse.
The pulse lands and it kills Woki. No lamp there coming out from Zornig. Might want to save that for later, but it doesn't save Marmor. And Bojack with the Goomba Stomp, taking out Toxin immediately. And there's not really much that Cam can do here apart from flee for their lives. Kurisu just rather killing himself instead of letting Mythical Kitsune do it for him.
Yeah, exactly. And that fight sort of kicked off from that +1 from Radiant. That's also another reason, I mean, so usually you'd play the Mei here, right? But the Tracer actually works well because you can put pressure on the back line and make sure this front line of Woki and Marmor have a lot of a harder time against Bojack, who will get pressured out by the Bob here, so they will have to back up and give up that positional advantage as the Flux comes out.
That's a huge Flux, but the Cassidy gets taken out mid-high noon. That's absolutely huge there by Toxin. And it looks like the Rhine also getting taken out there by Toxin. Toxin doing a very, very nice job on the Ashe. But Calva saying, no, actually. No, you're not doing that today. I'm going to take you off of the map. But Kurisu and Bang making up for it in kind. Managing to take out not Rhino and Uomi, respectively. And Zornig getting that last pick onto Calva. Radiant just trying to stall the point now a little bit longer. But eventually the flip does come out for Cam.
Yeah, and off the back... Yeah, and off the back of that flip, they now have some damage boosting ultimates they can use up to this choke. They won't actually try and establish a positional advantage, which is really confusing to me. I would put like your Sigma on an off angle here, maybe your Hanzo, see if you can sort of pressure out from 2 sides, but instead they're just going to throw up the window here and hope for the best.
Very, very much so. And the window comes out there from both sides there. Kurisu, though, managing the early body shot onto Omi. That's an absolutely huge pick. Tomo, though, managing to take out the Immortality field early. And finding Tomo and Bojack with the Dragon Strike, but not Rhino, taking out 2 of his own. Managing to get Woki and Toxin, but Bang with that whip, getting Calva. And it looks like Cam are going to be able to hold on to the point for just a little bit longer. And there's a pause.
Yeah, I mean, they win the fight despite that pause. Obviously, the Baptiste, I would assume, was probably gone for a fair chunk of that fight then. So yeah, honestly, pretty good stuff here from Cam in terms of the Orisa Sigma. Obviously, I would polish up the gameplay a little bit in terms of how they're playing it positionally. But again, this is like sort of 2800 to 3500. I'm not expecting perfect positioning at all times. A lot of the times as well, I'm guessing they're sort of focusing on like ult tracking and that sort of thing, which is pretty important. It becomes a little bit more, I guess, muscle memory as you go up the ranks. But for this sort of rank, I feel like they're playing pretty well. And Mythical Kitsune, they're struggling to get back into these team fights when Cam have the initial sort of position. Despite the fact that, they do have multiple angles of pressure, right? They've got multiple lanes in terms of having that Tracer in the back. You can have this Cassidy take off angles and then the main rush core go in, but Mythical Kitsune not really using it to its fullest extent.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's very tempting to just rush them forehead, but that's not always the case. In these sorts of ranks, when a lot of the times maybe you can't really get the sort of coordinated rush that you would really need to unseat this kind of double shield composition.
Yeah, and talking about unseating it, it's going to have to be now, right? Mythical Kitsune, they have a beat, they have a shatter. If they rush in here and try and overwhelm Cam, they should be good.
Here comes the beat to engage. Toxin, Bojack, going for the shatter. Doesn't find anyone. That's just met by the lamp and a shield bash. Is anybody going to touch the point? No! Nobody touches the point on the side of Mythical Kitsune. They're so focused on trying to get those ults out and trying to get those picks that they just neglect the objective entirely.
Oh, that's our second EU Tranquility C9. The first one obviously being on Tuesday, the second one being now. So, yeah, and Toxin's Bob as well, as you can see in the kill feed there towards the end.
Just
doing
having
the
a great
clean.
time.
Yeah, just loving the firing range they get because everyone's just. But Mythical Kitsune here, it does feel like they are a rush-based team, right? I will say just from the outset here, we're 2 rounds into Nepal. I can't make too much of a judgment, but what I can say is that their rush seems to be a style they're preferring. And right now, into the versus Sigma, it feels like they're struggling with it just a little bit, probably because of the amount of spam they're taking on that entry. I'd say sort of cleaning up their rotations could potentially fix that, as they are taking a bit of a unique one here, going up sort of the top left and trying to take a fight up there, but Cam are too slow. You're not going to really get much positional advantage from the high ground there. You're just going to push up to the point and take control at first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You want to try and get a little bit of poke damage in there, but not too much, because, I mean, there's a shield in the way, and you can just kind of wait on point, wait out that poke damage. Eventually, Cam are going to have to try to unseat this brawl composition, and I think Mythical Kitsune are kind of relying on that. As you can see here, the dynamites are just coming in a lot just to get that ult charge for the potential Bob. And Kurisu on this off angle, not particularly finding anything. Does teleport coming out though? Doesn't manage to find anyone quite yet, apart from the lamp, but not Rhino. Managing to find the Brig early, and Kurisu taking out Bojack, but Tomo and Radiant responding in kind, taking 2 of their own. Zornig though, bat diffing Uomi a little bit there. And Tomo with the beam going on an absolute tear. They're just beaming people down. And Mythical Kitsune being able to hold on to the point for a little bit longer there.
Yeah, and that felt like a fight where Cam probably should have had the advantage early on. They had the Hanzo and Ash on different off angles. Their Sigma's protecting him. You had the Orisa pushing him with the rest of the team. It looked alright for Cam, but I feel like they got the script flipped on them a little bit, where Mythical Kitsune rotated around them. So now in this team fight, early pick, Cam got to disengage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're just running at them, all guns blazing. The Sigma fluxing Tomo early, though, and the Dragon coming out as well. Woki going on an absolute tear there, taking out Bojack with the slam, and Kurisu picking up 2 of their own. And it looks like off the back of Kurisu's Hanzo and an excellent flux from Woki, Cam are going to be able to take this point.
Yeah, these EU Discord tier team fights are honestly quite confusing. It feels like one team has the advantage and then it just completely flips around. That's been the past 2 team fights anyway, where, you know, Mythical Kitsune, now they get value out of this top left rotation. It has been scouted out though, and getting through this choke here as well as onto the point, into an Arrested Sigma, can be tricky, so you can use this MTP instead.
Yeah, absolutely, and the wall coming out as well there. Let's see if Tomo can build a bit of charge there, but disaster strikes as Kurisu with the Sonic Arrow manages to take out Bojack early, but Tomo with the beam manages to take out Marmor and the lamp, and the beat comes out to try and give Mythical Kitsune a little bit more sustain. Tomo, though, going on an absolute tear with this beam, finding Bang, I can't read for the bitrate, but Radiant, headshotting Toxin, cover meleeing 2 people there in that fight, and the flip comes out for Mythical Kitsune.
Yeah, and it's another team fight where they use their comp to its advantages. They TP in, they get a quick team fight, and Cam, you know, they can't really do much about that, you know, sort of rotation coming in. And Mythical Kitsune, look how far they're pushed up here. They're going to get Dragon Striked.
Yeah, but the lamp there just kind of meets it out in the end, and like, what are you going to do there apart from try and rush them? The shadow comes out immediately, as well as the lamp and the wall. You can't do that to be... That must constitute some form of cyberbullying. I mean, you just can't do that to people.
Oh, and the pin onto the Ash. Bojack is just massacring them. And, I mean, that'll be the end of the map here, obviously. Mythical Kitsune took the team fight at just the right time there, so they'll end up taking the pole. And listen, predicting Tranquility. You thought this would be a 3-1 to Cam. Cam need to win the next 3 maps for that to be the case, so good luck with your Preds.
Absolutely, and it looks like I'm on the right track by predding against them. Who knows? But as this is a sort of we play all 4 maps here at Tranquility EU. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe the scoreline might end up as a 3-1, but Mythical Kitsune take the first 3 maps. Who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, Mythical Kitsune. for me there, it really felt like they struggled on Sanctum, but then they pulled it back, sort of playing the Mei Sim instead of the Cast Tracer. And I feel like that was where the difference sort of lied, right? Where Cam, in the Arista Sigma composition, you have a lot more peel with a Bat Break against that Tracer, and you're basically getting no value as a Tracer there, other than a couple of team fights where we saw him get some cleanup kills, or that fight where they opened up with the pulse. So Mythical Kitsune changed things up on Shrine there. They pull out the Mei Sim, and what it does against the Arista Sigma that Cam is preferring to play right now, they are, like, Mythical Kitsune, they're able to TP on top of them, avoid any spam, any rotations, and then Cam are stuck in a brawl situation as a spam composition, which you don't really love to see. You're able to wall off sort of the Arista and the Sigma, the Baptiste has to jump over and you know, might not be able to save them in time. It's a really tricky situation if you are Cam when you're just getting TP'd on like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of pokey composition just isn't used to getting teleported on so quickly, and they don't have any mobility tools to even escape that kind of rush. If Orion just TPs in front of you, it's like, what are you going to do about it? Run away? He has a speed boost. He can just run you down.
Yeah, exactly. So, Hanamura is going to be our second map here. Obviously, we do have the map order of sort of this Control Assault Hybrid Escort. So we'll be seeing 2 CP second. We could see a draw here. We did on Tuesday. I don't want to jinx anything just yet, though. But listen, it would be a long series if we got a draw, and then, you know, we got like a map 5 from it. Who knows? But either way, Hanamura. I believe we saw Volskaya on Tuesday, and I'm interested to see what the EU teams are going to play on a map like Hanamura. I would assume Cam are going to whip out the Arista Sigma again, purely off the basis that you should be able to get value from these sort of choke points you get in Hanamura, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, Mythical Kitsune, the Sim TP Brawl has definitely taken a hold of this sort of rank in EU, especially on this map where teleporting a Brawl comp straight onto point has even made it into ranked games.
Yeah.
But it looks like Cam are going to be doing just that, albeit with a little bit of variation there. But yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I do think, honestly, the only thing I would change about this for Cam right now is having a Mei instead of Reaper here for Kurisu. There's an early 5-strike there. Bojack already 32% towards that Shatter. If they brawl out in this first team fight a bit, they'll get that Shatter online.
Absolutely. The TP coming out very, very early, though, with the Orisa as well. But Radiant with the immediate headshot onto Bang, and Bojack managing to get the hammer swing onto Toxin. I mean, there's only so much Kurisu's Reaper can do. And, I mean, Mythical Kitsune, reading that like a book, just stomping on Cam's plans.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of what you expect at this point. It's been in the meta for so long, you're just going to expect that same TP. And Cam are also playing Lucio Brig, which means they don't have sustain against a hard brawl team fight. You're going to see another TP come through here, but they should get out-brawled again with Bojack having the Shatter online.
Absolutely. This time it's just straight to point, though, and I think Bojack's going to try and maybe take an angle here. Looks like if he can get onto point, maybe. The Shatter comes out. Goober stomps Zornig immediately. What an amazing pick coming out there. And Calva, Lucio diffing Bang off of the map. Insane, insane play coming out from the players of Mythical Kitsune. Just, once again, read like a book.
Yeah, I mean, the Symmetra teleport is telegraphed. Like I said last fight as well. Like, it's everyone expects it at this point. You know, it's not, if it doesn't work the first time, it's not gonna work the second time or the third time as Toxin is remaining on that hero. And this time around, you can just out spam it if you're Kitsune because you have a Blizzard and a amplification matrix here for Uomi.
Yeah, very much so. And here comes the teleporter once again, going onto that high ground. The D.Va trying to contest it a little bit, but it's not enough to get that rotation off. And I think, yep, the window comes out immediately. Tomo getting that amplified headshot onto Toxin, just flat out immediately. And, I mean, Cam are just forced to wait behind cover, fearing the headshots. The beat, though, coming out, as well as the wall. The Blizzard, though, freezes one, freezes three, and the bomb taking out all three Blizzarded targets. And Zornig, with the rally, just decides to get off the map because there's literally nothing you can do at that point.
And what was the team fight
doing?
plan there for Cam? I have no idea what they just tried. They beated, the Reinhardt pins in, gets walled, Blizzard comes through, bomb sent in. That was perfect execution to follow up on the mistakes of Cam. Cam, again, like, I'm not entirely sure what they're intending to get with the Lucio break here. I'm not sure if they're looking at Overwatch 2 sort of gameplay and being like, oh, well, they're playing Lucio Brig in Overwatch 2. Surely it works in Overwatch 1. No.
I mean,
There's 6 players in Overwatch 1. You've got the Baptiste still in Overwatch 1. They give so much more utility than the Brig does. It really is not great here for Cam when you're trying to take team fights that aggressively. Getting walled off, blizzarded, bombed, like, it's really... I mean, it was great for Mythical Kitsune. Great read, honestly, to realize that pin came through.
Yeah, absolutely. The compositions coming out here from Cam are very, very unorthodox, and honestly, I'm not quite sure what they hope to achieve over the more standard Brawl compositions that we're seeing from Mythical Kitsune. I mean, I'm all for, you know, experimental team compositions, but we've had this meta for, what, 2 years now? I think if somebody had figured something out, they would have applied it by now.
Yeah, I do think, in terms of the compositions here, I mean, a big thing, I think, in lower SRs, and again, I keep mentioning the lower SRs of this, but it is really important when you're comparing this to something like you know, Transcendence tier, right, is the SR difference, and I do feel like at lower SRs, sort of in your Plat to Diamonds, maybe not in your Masters so much, but you do oftentimes see people miss playing compositions or choosing the wrong compositions entirely, right? I mean, there's countless times I've been in, like, scrim teams, and they've tried to tell me, like, certain picks are better than others, when they're just not, right? They don't help you play the composition as they're intended to be played. As you see Zorne go over to the Baptiste here, so they have figured it out, but they've lost the ult charge now, so...
Well, they didn't have ult charge to begin with, because they just rallied and jumped off of the map. They might try and maybe teleport in with the Death Blossom, but the initiative there taken by Mythical Kitsune with the beat and the slam, picking up 3, 4, 5 just immediately. I mean, Cam didn't have time to even set up. Mythical Kitsune were just on it immediately.
MTD, that's all I have to say. Bojack gets past all, well, sorry, both of those shields, and then hits the Shatter. I mean, it's just Cam, bit of sloppy play there, not realizing that aggression came through. Did use Mythical Kitsune's Infernal of that beat though, which means his Bongo could get a lot of value here for Cam, as well as his Death Blossom. And
here comes the teleporter once again. Bojack, though, immediately picking off Marmor, and the High Noon getting walled off there by the Symmetra, not finding as much value as you would think. The Death Blossom, I don't know what happened there, but he clearly must have gotten stunned out of it. Doesn't find as much as they would have wanted, and the fight, the picks going back and forth, but Tomo with the Cassidy just turning the fight in Mythical Kitsune's favor, and the Sim, being the only one left alive, gets stomped on by Toxin.
Yeah.
And even with that, sorry.
No. I mean, in terms of that team fight, I mean, Tomo turns it into their favor in more ways than one. I mean, that initial flash onto the Reaper to stop that Death Blossom, because it was a pretty telegraphed Death Blossom, right? But getting that flash off, big stuff, because that was a prime Death Blossom that could have killed probably 3 or 4, because he didn't have that beat online, like I mentioned from Mythical Kitsune, right? So it would have been a good Death Blossom. Obviously, Tomo comes in with a flash, then proceeds to clean up the fight with just a couple of clean kills and headshots. I mean, Mythical Kitsune, they're looking pretty unstoppable right now. Cam, they only made the swap to the Baptiste about 3 minutes in, after that DC happened, and it took that DC for them to think, okay, maybe the break isn't viable in Overwatch 1. Because I was mentioning this a bit earlier, but in Overwatch 2, there's less players, so you don't really need the Baptiste. Like, the Baptiste doesn't get as much value because they're not as grouped up. Whereas, like, you need the packs in Overwatch 2 more so with the Junker Queen comp. But I'm not entirely sure why they thought that would be viable for Reinhardt. I have no idea. But Cam, they'll be playing on the defense now. Rein Zarya, back to their roots on the pole, it seems.
Yeah, a bit more of an experimental composition as well coming out from Cam with the, I think, Mercy Pocketed Ash. Maybe they're trying to read the TP that Mythical Kitsune seem to be opting for, and maybe they want to chuck a damage boosted Dynamite in there. But not having the speed is just such a loss for a Brawl composition. And not having the defense matrix either. I mean, you can't eat the Blizzard that would come out from Radiant when he inevitably builds it. It's just kind of free at that point.
Yeah, I would prefer this Ashe on, like, second point, maybe not on first, though. So we'll see if Toxin can get anything done with it. Just TP straight to the point here, off the bat.
Yep, and the wall comes out, and it looks like that. Nope, that's not all she wrote quite yet. But the first hit comes out immediately, and the support's actually finding the first 2 picks. Radiant and Rhino are managing to get the next. And yep, I think that's all she wrote for Hanamura. Just a textbook performance there from Mythical Kitsune. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. That just went by so fast.
I mean, yeah, you call it a textbook performance. It was literally textbook Hanamura. They defend excellently against every time Cam tried to TP. Cam didn't play by the book at all. They didn't. Yeah, I mean, this was just nasty from Bojack, but it was Mythical Kitsune out-reading Cam in every single team fight. Not only in sort of the Symmetra teleports, where Cam should have swapped off after the first one, but also the fact that their own Symmetra teleport worked out just exponentially better. That was Hanamura as it should be played, and Mythical Kitsune just showed us an excellent performance there, where you can't really fault much of the stuff they did, other than a couple, like, team fights where they maybe overinvested ultimates. For example, like the beat that I mentioned, when the Death Blossom was online, when the enemy stuff was online, but overall, very clean gameplay from Mythical Kitsune, and they are on track to win this series right now. As it stands, predicting Tranquility, you were wrong.
Yeah, and it looks like I was right.
Yeah, you were right.
Great, cool. Well, we'll go with that, shall we? As we perhaps picking next map, I think currently. Not quite sure.
It'll be hybrid, yeah.
It will be hybrid, yeah. I would put, if I could put money on this, I would put money on King's Row.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a team that specializes in Brawl on a hybrid, like, it's gonna be King's Row. Like, even if they don't specialize in Brawl, they're gonna be like, yeah, King's Row, because we like playing Brawl. Everybody likes playing Brawl. King's Row, the basic map.
Yeah, literally, it's like, it's the Emma, I would say, or like the Chris of maps, right? It's like it's what like simple, you know. It's common. It's like you know a lot of people named Emma. You know a lot of people named Chris. You know, who doesn't play King's Row?
It's ubiquitous for a reason. I mean, people like playing Brawl. King's Row is a map that facilitates Brawl brilliantly. So 2 and 2 just go together to make King's Row.
Yeah, and speaking of 2 and 2, obviously, that's 2 halves of the series, meaning we are going to be heading into our halftime break. Love that transition. But yeah, we're going to be heading into our halftime break. We'll be back in just about 10 minutes to see how this series concludes, so stay with us. It's been a banger of a series so far, everybody, as we have Mythical Kitsune 2-0 up over Cam, and this has been quite the inspirational gameplay, I think, so far here. Funky Monk, we've had a little bit of this, EU experience during this cast.
And by EU experience, we mean brawl and
Yeah.
lots of it. Map just gone by, we had Hanamura, both teams attempting similar Symmetra teleporting strategies with wildly different results.
Yeah, there's I'd say here. I mean, I've said this before the break, right? But like, the compositions here are extremely intriguing for me. I think you've had a lot of back and forth between these teams, but like, Hanamura, bit of a stomping there for Mythical Kitsune, off of the back of just them knowing how to play the composition better. That is mostly what Overwatch boils down to as well, is just knowing how to play your composition, and sort of those types of matchups, right? At least at this lower level, is like, fundamentally, you need to be able to play that rush against another rush effectively, and that's exactly what Mythical Kitsune have been doing. Cam struggle a little bit, I think, in terms of the sort of the TP plays, right? They didn't swap off after the first TP failed, and that's a pet peeve of mine on Hanamura, so...
Yeah, I mean, we've all had ranked games like that, haven't we? Where the one guy goes, yeah, I know the Sim TP for this, and then just doesn't swap from Sim after the third TP, and you're just like, mate, just play Cassidy or something.
Yeah, like, the thing is with Sim, you need to, like, get into the team fight and have a good position in the team fight to then get value out of Sim. And that's what Sim is good at, putting yourselves into those good positions, and that's what Mythical Kitsune did. It took them one Symmetra teleport attempt, and Cam put in about 5, 6, maybe? A fair few, anyway. And none of them really worked out incredibly well. They had a team fight where they just beat it and sent their Rhino with a pin, got walled off, died. So it has been a fair bit of, I would say as well, a bit of a tank difference as well.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's, let's see. Yes. I would agree. It has been a bit of a tank difference from Woki to Bojack there. Bojack's just been a little bit more dominant, I would say, by comparison. Just really taking those fights on his terms.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bojack here, obviously, I think is a player to look out for in this second half, as well as Tomo, I think. These two players were really impressing me. Tomo, obviously, I would say pretty much clutching up Hanamura for them. There was like a team fight towards the end of Cam's attack, which was like a little bit, they could have won it, right? It was very, very close. But the couple of kills Tomo got and a good flash onto a Death Blossom meant that Mythical Kitsune, they full held on Hanamura. And I feel like that one play from Tomo, along with all the other plays that led up to it, obviously, in the entire round, were what sort of led Mythical Kitsune to be able to actually win Hanamura and not have a draw on 2CP for once.
Absolutely. Tomo's Cassidy was just working wonders for them. And the Symmetra as well, they were charging the beam very, very quickly and managing to beam like 2 or 3 people consistently every fight. It was just, a hit scan masterclass, I guess, for any 3K DPS.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about hitscan masterclasses as well, we're going into a map here where the hitscan play is going to be extremely important. We've got Barney for you. So obviously you can play the Ashe, you can potentially play like a Cassidy, but it's a little bit more dubious. I think sort of the Ashe matchup is what I'm going to be looking at here. Obviously, that would be, I think, Tomo versus Toxin on that. And Toxin has been one of the more impressive players on Cam. And yet they still, like, a lot alongside Karisu, I think. And those two players still can't really put the entire team on their back, right? You need a full team to be able to win this. And Cam, they have to reverse sweep to win the entire thing. So, yeah, uphill battle, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe there's a little bit of we don't want to play Brawl anymore energy coming out from... I don't know if this is this a loser's pick map?
Yep.
It is a loser's pick map. So I think Cam is just trying to, take the stage for them and go like, okay, we like poke comps, so we're going to pick a map that favors poke comps and does not favor Brawl in the slightest capacity. And it seems like they just prefer Numbani.
Yeah. And to whoever made these cinematics for Numbani, I am very ashamed of you for not putting the Sigma shop in the cinematic. Just a little bit of a dig. Whoever made this, the cinematics are good, but oh wait, Sigma bot contour. There we go. Hey, we got Sigma, and we could also see some Sigma here as well.
Oh, very, very much so. Again, nope. Okay. Cam have... Nope, there we go, dive. Well, never mind. Looks like both teams just really like the sort of classic dives, with the addition of the Symmetra on the side of... the Symmetra? The Brig? Why did I say Symmetra? Who knows? With the addition of the Brigida on the side of Cam. What I'm very interested in is the Genji pick. A Genji pick is something you don't often see in these sorts of competitions.
Yeah, exactly, and we have a bit of a disgruntled producer at the minute, has to put us to a pause for the 3rd time this game. EU players, don't be scuffed challenge, but yeah, like you were saying, I do think the matchup between the Genji and the Ashe here, right? Everything else is mirrored. You got the Tracer on both sides, the Ana Brig, the Winston Diva. So this will be a true test of, can long-ranged poke win out on the defense, or can aggressive Genji play, trying to actually make plays and get solo kills, right, essentially. You'll be diving in alongside your Monkey will get a little bit of that damage in, but you're basically going for assassination kills as a Genji, whereas the Ashe puts a lot more sustained damage out.
Yeah, the Genji is a very, very difficult hero to get value out of on these sorts of maps, just because you have to play into these sort of pokier compositions.
Yep, for sure, and Tim obviously playing on this sort of left side high ground alongside their Monkey. That is a pretty susceptible position for an Ashe to be playing. They will back up a little bit here and play passively, but it is very dangerous if they get dove onto here. They are a prime target.
Yeah, very much so. You'd expect the Ashe to be playing more with the Brigitte and the Ana and the Diva, just so that the peel is easier. Toxin, though, really opening up this fight for Cam by taking out Radiant almost immediately, and Bojack getting slept as he tries to counter-engage, and Not Rhino taking out Marmor, Calva, whip-shotting Karisu, swinging the fight back into the favor of Kitsune. And, yeah.
I mean... you know, losing the Tracer duel, not the greatest thing there for Radiant, but either way, they pull it back. They did lose a Tomo towards the end there as well. I'm not sure how Bang managed to get that kill, but yeah, Radiant redeems themselves, cleans up on that team fight, pretty nice, gets some ult charge back as well as the pulse bombs and the nano boosts will be sort of the first ultimates online here for both sides. And I think that's how you want to be playing this on the attack. Wait for that nano boost, get your Monkey in, or get a nano blade through, because that is basically a guaranteed teamfight win with no trance or beat on the opposing side.
Yeah, absolutely. The Nano Blade is definitely very, very key, but it is a very risky investment when you could just nano a Monkey instead. Looks like Bojack is going to go in. Speaking of nano monkeys, here's one from Mythical Kitsune. Managed to get a lot of damage onto Karisu as he goes in, getting taken out by Calva there, and Bojack just cleaving through the members of Cam. And yeah, that'll be a fight win for Mythical Kitsune.
Yeah, exactly. Mythical Kitsune, again, just clean up on that fight pretty easily. Cam don't invest that Nano Blade. It was just a pulse bomb from Toxin, and unfortunately, I mean, Radiance was better. And also the early engage, I think, from Mythical Kitsune is what you want to be looking at here. With no Nano Boost online here, you need to use this rally early and try and stop this Nano Blade from coming out. Zornig needs to fall early.
Yeah, absolutely. But Zornig is just playing very, very safe in this sort of main position here. And it looks like they're probably going to try and go for the Nano Blade. The Genji going up a little bit, gets dove on, and then gets nanoed immediately afterwards. Going straight in for Tomo, finds Tomo, the Nano Blade gets pulled out, managing to take out Not Rhino as they eject from their mech. But getting slept very, very soon after by Uomi. But too little too late, I think, as Toxin manages to clean up Radiant. And Karisu takes out Uomi afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that could have very easily been a 5k just a lot earlier on there for Karisu, if they didn't actually get slept by Uomi. So Uomi kind of denying like Genji the 5k they wanted from that Blade, but it was an impressive play either way. I feel like Overwatch players at this point are sort of desensitized to Nano Blades, because it's like, yeah, you're indestructible, cool. But yeah, Cam, they made good use out of it. Karisu with the target selection was great, waiting for the Ashe to drop down, that sort of thing. And hopefully they can put more of those performances going into later parts of this map as well, because this seems like a revitalized Cam to me, as Karisu almost has another Blade online already.
Absolutely, yeah. The Tracers just trying to force each other out and keep each other occupied to stop them from going on each other's backlines. And it looks like the dive may be coming out quite soon from Bojack, taking a lot of damage though. Another blade coming out from Karisu there, managing to take out both supports before being zapped by the nano-boosted Winston, but Marmon, I mean, just going ham there, taking out Nozarino. Bojack, though, managing to get that last fade-away pick onto Woki before safely disengaging.
Yeah, and I think Karisu has found their calling here. Look, I thought their Mei was good, you know, I thought it was pretty decent, but their Genji, oh my goodness, like, built up a Genji blade in about 30 seconds, cleans up that team fight. Obviously, you do get this re-engage coming in from Mythical Kitsune, which, it's a bit up in the air.
It's a little bit up in the air, yeah, the DPS trades coming in from both sides. The Primal, though, going in there from Bojack, going very, very deep, finds Bang immediately, and Tomo with the Bob, managing to take out Woki as they fall from their mech. And it looks like Mythical Kitsune just pushing in. Tomo getting another Bob kill. And Mythical Kitsune holding on to point for a little bit longer.
Yeah, just a little bit, but obviously it'll be a matter of time before Karisu gets his Dragon Blade online again, given how fast they've been building it up. Obviously, like I said, that 30-second blade was pretty impressive as Tomo, playing with fire there. Almost took 3 shots from Zornig, and that would have taken him down. Toxin, though, hiding in wait, like a lion hunting their prey.
Absolutely. It looks like the Nano, though, going immediately onto Marmor, forsaking the Nano Blade. Zornig with the nade, managing to take out Tomo early. That pick is huge for Cam, going in there. And the point only manages to just get a little bit of a touch there from Radiant, the Brig getting antied afterwards. But Bang managing to get taken out by the Marmor, though, retaliating with a Primal Rage King onto Not Rhino. And Mythical Kitsune getting more and more kills. And what seemed to be a fight that would go in the favor of Cam has gone in the favor, once again, of Mythical Kitsune.
Yeah, Mythical Kitsune, they are really good at pulling these team fights out of the bag, I've noticed. I mean, they've whittled this down to a minute. They're going to have a Diva Stagger as well here, which should take a little bit more time off the clock. Probably makes it one-fight territory. By the time Cam will get back in, they can poke out a little bit and try and build up a blade here. But the only thing to supplement it is some rallies and a couple of packs probably from Bang, because no Nano Boost online here from Zornig. They did use that last fight.
No, but there's no rally on the side of Mythical Kitsune either, and they will be hoping to exploit that. Maybe they nano the Brig in response to the Blade. We shall see as the final fight does encroach upon us. Radiant dropping very, very low there. Cam looking for a bit of a rotation there, trying to get something done. Radiant tosses in the stick, doesn't find anyone. Bang, rallying early, but Woki tossing in the self-destruct, just trying to get a remech on in time. The blade still being held onto by Karisu, showing an absolutely amazing level of restraint. And Bojack just going ape in that room. Not Rhino getting that opening pick onto Toxin, but Karisu with the dash onto Radiant, pulls out the blade, finds Uomi, finds Tomo, and maybe manages to find the Brig as well. Nope, switches targets instead.
Yeah, I mean, this Brig's going to fall anyway towards the end of that fight. Cam, they were really patient with that blade, and I do love that from them. Karisu waited, knowing that, you know, the longer they wait, the closer they'll get to a nano boost, but also, they knew the Mythical Kitsune, they had that rally online. They wanted to try and force it out before that blade came through. Obviously, it did end up being a couple of kills came through early on anyway, so Karisu didn't really force out a rally with the blade anyway, and Carver will have that for this team fight, so they, again, could force the time bank ever so downwards here, but Cam, off the back of that team fight, build up some ults, Toxin with the Pulse Bomb, I think could be massive here if they can find Uomi in the back.
Absolutely, the Tracers just going at each other on the flank. Marmor tried to get a little bit done there, gets nanoed though, and goes in. Radiant though, managed to get that early pick onto Toxin. It's a very, very nicely done pick there, and Calva with the whip shot onto Woki. But Karisu retaliating with a pick onto Radiant, but Bojack manages to take Marmor. And Mythical Kitsune just holding on once more.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a wasted Nano Boost and Primal Rage there from Cam, both forced out by the excellent peel of Mythical Kitsune, but also Rhino's Bomb. They just dropped that straight in the middle where Marmor is primaling, is Nano Boosted, and then they are forced to use the Primal. So that wastes another ultimate here for Cam. Pulse Bomb doesn't land either.
No, it does not, but this self-destruct does land 2 picks onto Tomo and Uomi. Woki carrying this fight potentially for Cam, managing to get the D-Mech onto Not Rhino as well, getting forced out there by the Brigitte as well, and they're just gonna push cart, try and get a little bit more ground on there. Karisu with the blade might look for some picks here. The Brigida only just falling.
Yeah, this blade as well, just perfectly timed. They will get slept up, and there was almost a C9 there from Cam as Toxin does try and clutch up this team fight. It's all on them to try and bring things out of the bag, because a couple of kills here for Mythical Kitsune came through.
Very, very much so. Yeah, the stick gets thrown out, doesn't find anything. The Brig trying to desperately keep a hold of the point, falling very, very low and dying to the rallying bang. The Nano coming out onto the D.Va, really trying to get something done. Karisu finding Uomi, as well as Uomi finding Karisu. Woki finding Tomo as well there. Rhino getting the Anseeds, getting D-Mech'd. And it looks like the Winston only just able to touch there from Bojack. And it looks like Cam, in overtime, are going to be able to push it to point 3.
Yeah, Mythical Kitsune there. It was looking like they could have stalled that out. They found 2 picks early on in the fight, of course, where Toxin had to bite back with 2 of their own and try and clutch it out of the bag, and they did clutch it out of the bag, I have to admit. Trading back those 2 kills is pretty good, makes it a bit more of an even overtime fight there. And even though that final kill, the 3rd one in that team fight for Mythical Kitsune comes through, spawns were already there from Cam, they managed to clean things up. In overtime, of course, so their time bank did get whittled down. I thought they did pretty well by capping with, 2.5 minutes on the clock on first point and then being able to roll it a little bit through. Second point, I think, was where it went wrong, right? You had some great plays from Karisu with a blade, but it didn't quite get them over that point B finish line. And it kind of snowballs into them having a bad time bank here. So Mythical Kitsune will have to see what they do on their attack. It will be a bit of double bubble, it looks like.
Yeah, interesting choice not to go with the Brig with the double bubble. You lose out on the brawliness that the Brig provides with a Mercy pocketed Echo, which can definitely be potent as Cam aren't playing a long-range hit scan on this defense, opting instead to keep Karisu and Toxin on the Genji and the Tracer respectively. It'll be very interesting to see how Mythical Kitsune play this slower comp, one might say, against the sort of fast dives that Cam wants to take.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Mythical Kitsune, they're going to be going for ultimate rotations here, I reckon, right? Obviously, Cam are doing the same thing with a different composition, but double bubble, you want to be playing it slow, you want to build up that nano boost, take some damage, get that Zarya charged up, and put that core of the Ana and the Zarya up on the high ground, protect each other, and you should be good to go in terms of positioning there. So it's all about building up the nano boost, really, for Uomi to get that engage through, mainly. And right now, Cam aren't providing much spam damage to Mythical Kitsune to build it up with, so...
No, but this is good for Mythical Kitsune because they were holding so far back on the point, Radiant manages to get that focusing beam onto Zorna, get an absolutely huge nade coming out from Uomi, trying to secure even more picks. And the focusing beam doesn't manage to kill Marmor in time, but Rhino taking 2 of his own. And, I mean, the first point capped first try for Mythical Kitsune. Absolutely clinical.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically just like Hanamura at that point, right? Just Cam have to take a couple of tries to try and cap that up and only barely get it. And then Mythical Kitsune just do it in one try, say, you know what, I can do it better. They are a bit aggressive right now, though. They are currently in the middle of a team fight, as the payload is just being pushed by one singular player. Makes it a 5v6, but Mythical Kitsune do get out in time, and they actually, off the back of that poke bit here, where they've just played the team fight out, they get nano boosts, so it's not too bad for them.
Yeah, absolutely not. The Winston of Marmor just having to disengage there to try not take a little bit more damage. The Nano coming out onto the Winston, though, gets slept immediately afterwards, but Radiant managing to find the focusing beam onto Toxin is an absolutely huge pick, but Woki with the micro missiles onto Omi, and disaster! Radiant, I can only assume, kills himself with his own sticky bombs, and Woki taking out the Mercy as well. I mean, that's just disaster's own for Mythical Kitsune, and yet another pause occurs. The 4th one, I think?
Yeah, wonder who it is this time, but either way. Yeah, pretty solid, I think, defense of Mythical Kitsune's sort of attempt at a point B attack there from Cam. I feel like what it came down to was the amount of peel they were able to provide onto that monkey dive. Obviously, they boop the monkey away. You have to wait a little bit before going into that sort of stairway room where everyone was hiding in. And at that point, the monkey loses that nano boost. It's a little bit too late for Mythical Kitsune. I feel like they probably should have set up with some pressure onto the backline, force some cooldowns before diving in, because a lot of the time when you're trying to dive in with a nano boost, the main way it's going to get wasted is either an Ana sleep or a whip shot. So you want to get rid of those 2 abilities, or at least one of them, when you engage, and both of them were online. Ends up pretty badly there for Mythical Kitsune. They can technically turn the team fight right now if the issue is on Cam's side and they've DC'd a player, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, no. Mythical Kitsune end up like Nano is a really, really big win condition, and to just throw it into a sleep like that is not an ideal play. You can maybe send your Tracer to try and duel the backlines there, try and force out the cooldowns early, but I mean, if the Tracer's forcing the cooldowns, then she's not going to be around for the subsequent fights as she's trying to, you know, recuperate her lost health.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, Mythical Kitsune, they could have fought that, they could have tried to clutch it. Bojack goes down, though, and that holds him up a little bit. I think the duplication is what you're looking at here, though, for Radiant, right? You want to get this duplication onto the Monkey, get a triple tank setup going, and just dive in, put some pressure with that Primal Rage.
Absolutely. Having your main tank go in first is a pretty good idea, but the Nano Blade coming out onto Karisu doesn't find anyone yet, but Toxin with the stick onto Oomi opens up the fight there for Cam, even with the duplicates, taking out Zornig's Ana. Zornig, though, I mean, Radiant, sorry, gets a little bit pressured out there by Marmor's Primal Rage, but Woki, with the headshots, managing to take out Bojack. And it looks like, yeah.
It's a bit of a tricky one here. I feel like Cam, they should probably back up, regroup, stabilize, but they lose Marmo there, and not Rhino's back in things. I think it's Toxin here again that clutches things up for them, really.
Yeah, I mean, they're still, like, going. They just didn't stop fighting. Radiant with the early pick onto Woki's mech is a very, very nice one, because now you don't have to worry about your nades getting eaten, so Oomi could potentially find something very, very big there if they coordinate to die properly, but Karisu taking out Tomo early, that's not what you want to see. The stick finds Calva, not even stuck, just on the ground, and Calva just flies into it. Oomi almost getting one clip, gets bubbled, and the peel is just a little bit too strong there from Mythical Kitsune, but no, Oomi dies anyway.
Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit too close to sun there for Toxin, but that should be fine. Your Tracer can get back pretty quickly here. Mythical Kitsune, you know, they engage at the start of that very long team fight with a duplication, and they have a duplication back online now. But the key difference here is that it's alongside the Primal Rage and Nano Boost, and you're not going to have a Nano Blade for Cam to try and deny it. Obviously, it was a little bit of, as Owl Chat would say, a Wood Blade from Karisu before, but it did do its job in zoning, so...
Yeah, absolutely. If I were Mythical Kitsune, I'd be looking for a double monkey engage, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. The initial Winston taking all of the cooldowns for the second Winston to just eat up the backline, but Woki, once again, finding an opening pick onto Oomi. They just left the Ana for dead, and that's just the disadvantage that you have when you're playing the Mercy, is that there's nobody to peel for the Ana once you've gone all in.
Yeah, it is just a stark contrast as well from what you saw on Cam's attack, right? They were having trouble diving onto Mythical Kitsune because of that peel onto Oomi. Oomi was doing a great job of farming up the Nano Boost and not being interrupted while doing it. Whereas for the side of the Mythical Kitsune now, they only have that Mercy. And you can pocket Oomi, sure, but then you're leaving Radiant for dead on that Echo, who's now swapped to the Genji, knowing that they're probably going to swap to the Brig after this Valk.
Yeah, most likely they're going to do that. The Grav, though, and the Stick is a very, very deadly ult combination. We might see something like that happen. It looks like they're just trying to farm up charge. The Grav does come. No, the Grav does not come out. I am blind. The Nano instead going onto the Winston, and the Nano Blade from the Genji finds Oomi and also finds a Grav. Tomo finding the Stick onto Ben, and Radiant also taking out Toxin. It looks like finally things are coming up Mythical Kitsune.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but yeah, it does feel a little bit like Rhino, the patience there on the Grav was the main deciding factor. The Nano Blade comes in there from Karisu, right? And getting everyone into a small corridor like that, very good for the Nano Blade, typically, in terms of the splash damage you can get. But the Grav comes through. It occupies 3 players of Cam, and all 3 of those players go down, alongside the simultaneous force bomb from Tomo. I mean, that is just excellent timing, excellent patience from Rhino to not invest it earlier. And now Mythical Kitsune, they're in a situation where they're going to have to build up more ultimates or get value out of this blade. So it's either or. They can choose.
Yeah, I mean, Bang just has that rally in reserve, though, in case they get forced out. But Calva managing to take out Toxin first, but Marmor not letting them get away with that. Zaps Calva, and Woki taking out Bojack as well. Not without losing the mech, and Uomi managing to find Marmor as well. I don't know what happened there. Radiant, though, with the triple Shuriken headshot onto Woki. And it looks like Mythical Kitsune are just going to continue this capture progress.
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing about that is that they use no ultimates. They just punish Cam off of positioning.
Oh,
now
no.
coming into this, they invest a pulse bomb, take down Bang early, and the blade is still here for Radiant.
I mean, Bang had that rally as well. That's a very, very key ultimate that you wanted to destroy. And Radiant, now with no CCs, pulls the blade, finds Marmor with the dash, and finds Toxin as well. And, I mean, Mythical Kitsune go from almost being completely held at second to capping third in, what, their first, second try?
Yeah, and here's the thing. We can officially say that Mythical Kitsune win the series now. Because this is a draw or lose situation for Cam, and because we play 4 maps, right? If Cam draw this, Mythical Kitsune, they're going to get 2-1 at worst out of the 4 maps. So, so right now, Mythical Kitsune have won the series officially. So congratulations, Mythical Kitsune, for winning the series. You still have to play for seeding, though. Cam can probably draw this and maybe try and get an extra map for differential, but 1 minute 16 seconds here for Mythical Kitsune to try and stop that from happening and get the 3-0 here.
Yeah, I mean, capping with time there is just absolutely crucial. Looks like Kama baiting the Torbjorn pick a little bit there. Torbjorn, definitely an anti-dive character, but not necessarily what you'd want to see with a dive composition in and of itself. But it looks like they are going to stick with this Torbjorn pick. Not necessarily a pick I'm overly fond of, but I always love seeing the Swedish engineer Gremlin do his work.
Gremlin? Okay. I thought that was Diva, honestly, but either way.
There can be more than one Gremlin.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Mythical Kitsune here, minute 16, and it's weird because they're using a composition here, the double ball, where you play for time, and you play to build the nano boost, and the blade, and the grav, right? All, well, obviously the blade and grav, pretty slow building ultimates, the nano boost not so much so. We'll see if that sort of strategy of the double bubble works for them. I'm sure Rhino is probably just on this just because they think they can get a lot of charge, and the Torp turret gives them a fair bit.
Yeah, it does give them a fair bit of charge, not Rhino, just taking out that turret early. Now the Tracer of Tomo can just run around freely without getting forced out. It looks like they are going to go for a soft engage there, Marmor falling very, very low. And the rear contest coming out there does cleave through the members of Cam. Bang falling very, very low, but not being taken out, unfortunately. Kurisu forced to use the overload there, but Bojack managing to take out Woki. And it looks like not Rhino taking out Kurisu there. And they're just forcing Cam off of the point. And there's really not much they can do. Their attention is so split that they just can't really recontest this fight. And it looks like Mythical Kitsune have taken Numbani.
Yep, they take Numbani, make the scoreline 3-0, and potentially a 4-0 if they put up a dominant performance on Escort, as they have been doing for the past couple of maps. But what I'm just gonna sort of say here, what a Chad way to win a series off of Time Bank. That's just incredible. I love that. That's the one thing I love about this format, is the fact that they won the series off of a 1 minute 16 Time Bank. I mean, that is just so silly to me. But yeah, either way, they would have won the map anyway. So, you know, well, we can only assume they would have won a map anyway. They did do it in the first try, so we can assume that. And yeah, Mythical Kitsune, 3-0 right now. And in terms of seeding, best Cam can get is, you know, that -2 differential from this game instead of a -4, which they would have if they were to get 4-0'd here.
Yeah, I mean, Mythical Kitsune just winning off time back is a very strange way to win. You only really see that in like scrims and stuff where nobody really cares about the score. But I mean, yeah, like I guess it's just like a defensive diff there coming out from Mythical Kitsune, just holding on to that last point for so long and getting that overtime stall turns out very, very crucial to winning this game.
Yeah, indeed. That overtime stall, well, I think, yeah, was a deciding factor. If Cam actually had Time Bank there, they probably would have been fine, I would imagine. And they might have been able to win that, maybe make a reverse sweep happen, but you know, not fated to happen. We are going to take just a few minutes here. Obviously, on production side of things, we are having a couple of issues. I'm sure you lot have noticed a bit of a laggy stream, that sort of thing. So we'll be back in just a few minutes to bring you the final map.